No muscle makes a bigger visual impact on your physique than a set of round 3D delts. Unfortunately, the shoulders are also most prone to injury. That said, if we want to build bigger and stronger shoulders, it's also imperative that we keep them healthy. In this video, I'm going to share the only 3 shoulder exercises you need for rounder and wider shoulders. Not only will these give you the best bang for your buck in terms of muscle growth, but they'll also keep your shoulders strong and healthy. Now, before we jump into those, let's quickly go over the anatomy of the shoulders and their functions. The delts are made up of 3 heads: the anterior or front delt, the lateral or side delt, and the posterior or rear delt. The anterior deltoid is responsible for shoulder flexion or raising your arm up in front of your body. The lateral deltoid is responsible for shoulder abduction or raising your arms out to the sides. And the posterior deltoid is responsible for horizontal shoulder abduction, external rotation, and shoulder extension. As you can see, each major region is trained using distinct movements. Therefore, one exercise alone cannot fully target all of them effectively. So now that we understand what muscles we're targeting and what functions they're responsible for, let's jump into the only 3 shoulder exercises you need. Exercise number 1, seated Smith machine overhead press. According to this study, both the barbell and Smith machine allow you to lift around the same loads compared to dumbbells, and this research corroborates those findings specifically for overhead pressing. Looking at this graph, you can see similar activation levels for the anterior delts when comparing barbell and machine pressing. And because the posterior and lateral deltoids appear to act as stabilizers during overhead pressing, the higher activation of the lateral and posterior deltoids for barbell pressing means that the machine variation has less stability requirements. So this exercise provides unparalleled stability, which is crucial for lifting heavier weights and maintaining strict form throughout the exercise. Unlike free weights, the Smith machine's guided movement pattern and fixed bar path minimize the need for balancing the weights, allowing you to focus solely on pushing the load with maximum effort. Thus, this exercise ensures almost all tension is directed to the shoulders. In fact, according to this 2013 study, the Smith machine shoulder press produced the highest activation of the anterior delts compared to other shoulder exercises. The question then becomes, why perform the seated variation over the standing variation? Well, according to this study, published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, you're about 10% stronger when doing shoulder presses seated versus standing. So not only is this exercise safe and stable, but it's easier to load and far less risky when compared to free weight variations. If your goal is to place as much tension on the front delts as possible, lower the bar to about ear height. If you prefer to make this more of a compound exercise where you're involving the upper pecs, then lower the bar as far as comfortable. For this exercise, you also want to press in the scapular plane, keeping your arms and elbows at approximately 30 to 45 degrees in front of you relative to your torso. This positioning not only aligns the tension with the muscle fibers of your front delts, but also provides a safer position for your shoulders. Exercise number 2, cable lateral raises. This 2003 study highlights that the lateral deltoid remains active throughout its entire range of motion. This means if you want to maximize their engagement, you should load them from the top, middle, and bottom of the range. When using dumbbells, we rely on gravity for resistance, which means the direction of resistance is always vertically downward. Due to this vertical resistance, dumbbells primarily work the delts in the mid-range of the motion. Cables, on the other hand, provide a better resistance profile because there's tension on the delts from start to finish. Therefore, cable lateral raises are the superior choice for effectively stimulating the mid delts. When it comes to the execution, execution of cable lateral raises, many advocate for performing them as if you're pouring from a pitcher with the pinky higher than the thumb. According to this study, however, this pinky up position was found to decrease subacromial space width and increase impingement risk during lateral raises. Coincidentally, a 2020 study compared internal, neutral, and external rotation of the arm during lateral raises. They found that using a neutral hand position maximizes mid-deltoid activation. Additionally, research indicates that a straighter arm during lateral raises enhances side deltoid activation. That said, perform these with your arms completely straight or with only a slight bend at the elbow. And if you want to make these even more effective, you can cross your working arm in front of you, starting your raise in an even more loaded stretch. Exercise number 3. Reverse pec deck flies. Research has shown that the reverse pec deck produces the greatest activation of the posterior deltoid, achieving approximately 90% muscle activation. This study, examining the mechanics of shoulder extensors, shows that the rear delt exhibits excellent leverage for extension at all joint angles. Whether you're pulling, rowing, or reverse flying, and whether your arms are tucked into your sides, parallel to the floor, or overhead, your rear delts are always sufficiently activated. Simply put, any exercise involving shoulder extension is highly beneficial for targeting the rear delts. So, why choose the reverse pec deck specifically? Well, according to the same study, the rear delts become a main shoulder extensor at shoulder height and above. And if you want to make these even more effective, this study from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that using a neutral grip during reverse flies significantly increases activity of the posterior deltoid. And while the reverse fly can be performed with dumbbells or cables, the reverse pec deck offers chest support, guided movement, and a fixed line of pull. This checks all the boxes for an exercise's stability, allowing you to focus solely on working the target muscle. So, there you have it, the only 3 shoulder exercises you need for round 3D delts. Not only will these help add width to your frame, resulting in a more aesthetic appearance, but they'll also bulletproof your shoulders, allowing you to train hard for years to come. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below, as it'll truly help out the channel. Also, if you're training consistently and your nutrition is in order, yet you're failing to see noticeable results, check out our science-based recovery stack. With pitch black and maxed out, you'll have your post-workout needs covered with clinically dosed products proven to improve sleep quality, enhance recovery, and increase muscle and strength. And right now, you can get 25% off your entire order. Just head over to musclemonsters.com/supplements or click the link in the description and enter the coupon code MONSTER at checkout. And if you're enjoying the content and want to support the channel, all we ask is that you click the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss another video. Peace.